Hey everyone, and welcome to the Loot Grinder. I am going to be showing you my Trinity build in this video for Eidolon hunting. And there's one thing I want to say before I start this, and that is that this is going to contain obviously spoilers for the Second Dream and the War Within quests, because, it's by the nature of Eidolon hunting, that is just how the system works. So I strongly urge you just to go do those quests beforehand, because you're going to ruin the experience for yourself, and I don't want to be responsible for that, so I'm telling you that now. And also, this build is not meant to be a meta build in any way, shape, or form. It's not meant to be one-shotting anything. It's not meant to be doing, 20,000 Eidolons in one night. Those people that do that are amazing, but this is just a modest build for people that just want to get into Eidolon hunting and are struggling to do so. You will need the helmet system for this. I couldn't get my words out then. You will need the helmet system for this, and if you haven't got that yet, go focus on it. Just put all your time into getting the helmet system, because it is absolutely worth it. It will allow you to make a lot of more of your builds more interesting. So just go get that, focus on that, and then come back to Eidolon hunting after you've done so. The other thing I would recommend is completing the star chart to make sure you've got arbitrations, because this build relies on some mods from that. However, if you haven't done that, don't worry, you can use platinum to buy it from the trade shop. I think I've got everything I need to say out of the way, so let's get into the build. Now, here are two arcanes that are very good. You will earn these naturally by just killing Eidolons anyway, especially they both drop from the Terror list, so you've not got any issues with obtaining these, but they will help the fight be a lot less frustrating in future runs after you obtain them. You can buy them from people, but I just recommend killing them. It's fun to earn, gives you something to work towards other than just gaining focus. The aura is not optimal, because I can't be bothered to former her, if I'm honest. But Deadeye is your optimal is the optimal aura slot to use, because it will give you more damage output. Now, Trinity's role in a normal group composition will be healer. However, on solo, she's going to suffer on the DPS side. So we need ways of increasing her DPS. What I do is I use Smite. Smite is from Oberon. Oberon has an ability called Smite, where he can attack an enemy and these orbs will come out of them. It's not what we're going to be using it for, because he also has an augment, Smite Infusion. And what that does is it gives you a percentile increase to your radiation damage on every single weapon you own, as well as your allies that are within the range when you cast it. And that's when you hold the ability. On my build, 150% increase, and it will last for 92 seconds. So it's a great way just to up your damage, and Eidolons are weak to radiation, so it's just really good. The other two Warframe options are Volt and, I believe, Ember, that will increase radiation as well, because they have the element that combines with radiation to create it. So, first things first, we have Adaptation. That will just increase your survivability by giving you percentile increases to your damage reduction, so it will just be an overall increase to your tankiness, which Trinity is not very tanky. Prime Continuity for duration, as well as Narrow-Minded. You'll lose ability range, but luckily her Blessing works on affinity range, so it's separate to actual ability range. And we'll be using Streamline for efficiency, Smite Infusion I've already explained, and we'll be using Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify. If you don't have these mods, go get them. You don't buy them, just go get them. I don't believe you can buy them anyway. Unsure on that. But go get them from the quest that they drop from. If you haven't got them, don't panic. Just use Vitality and Intensify anyway. And then we've got Vigorous Swap. Probably the other most important mod on this build. This will give you, just by swapping your weapon, will give you 165% damage increase at max, and also 100% holster speed at max as well. And it's just free. You don't have to pay any energy for it. You just swap your weapon, 150% additive damage to all damage output, and on your weapons. So that is the main build. If you can, and you've got space for it, I would recommend putting Prime Sure-Footed in the extra slot. that will stop you from getting knocked over, which Eidolons love to do to you. They just love knocking you on your ass. So just put Prime Sure-Footed here. If you don't have Prime Sure-Footed, make sure you get it on your next login. And also, there are other options. The other option can be Power Drift, if you've got Power Drift. It can help. It's a percentage chance, but it's better than nothing. And the other option is Handspring for 160% faster knockdown recovery. It won't stop you from getting knocked down, but you'll get up a lot faster and will stop you from either dying or missing those important timings of sniping Synovas or getting the shields down. Let's move on to the weapon of choice. Highly debated among Eidolon hunters. However, generally accepted ones are Vectus Prime, Vectus, Rubico Prime, and Rubico. There are others, and I've seen them used. I personally wouldn't. I've used Vectus, and I personally use Rubico Prime, and I prefer Rubico personally overall. But you've got to get a feel for it and decide yourself. Now, if you know about galvanized mods, you might be wondering maybe why I'm not using them. And that's because galvanized mods don't gain any benefit over their normal counterparts in an Eidolon hunt, because they usually require a kill or another specification that doesn't actually happen within the Eidolon hunt. So you're not going to gain any benefit from using galvanized. They usually cost a little bit more, so there's no point putting the time and effort into using them. So this build is just a normal crit and elemental build, so pretty standard. Serration for damage, split chamber for multi-shot, vigilante armaments for more multi-shot. It is a slot that can be changed around if you want to. If you can think of a better thing to use, go for it. Then we've got Vital Sense and Point Strike for crit damage and crit chance. If you want to use critical delay instead of Point Strike, you can go ahead. I personally like the fire rate the way it is. I already find it a bit slow, so I wouldn't want to slow it down anymore. Plus Point Strike's easier to get hold of. You'll spend a little time in the trade chat trying to get critical delay or farm it yourself. Vital Sense, obviously, for crit damage. And then we've got the elemental combo to create radiation, which is what Eidolons are weak to. And also, Eidolons are secondary weak to cold damage. So we put primed cryo rounds here too. Again, if you haven't got the primed counterpart, then you just use the normal cryo rounds. The Exodus slot is really up to you if you use it. I personally love this weapon, so I have opened it up and put stabilizer in. I just find it has a little bit, and only a minor bit, of recoil. And just by putting stabilizer on, it just gets rid of it. You don't notice it anymore. In Eidolon hunts, you have enough to worry about than a little bit of recoil. Just put stabilizer on. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. You don't need it. And if you have access to the primary mods, primary arcanes, put primary deadhead on. It's the only one that's going to give you any benefit. I've only put it there because I've unlocked the slot. It will give you 30% to headshot multipliers, which can help, and also minus 50% weapon recoil as well. So you're really going to have no recoil. The last two weapons are personal choice. You need a secondary to switch back to your primary for vigorous swap. And melee weapons are useful for killing things like the Grineer, if they're in your way, and also to get yourself out of Arcwing with ground slams and things like that for repositioning. So they're great to have anyway. There are meta options you can use instead of these. I personally don't, just because of this build's for just introducing you to it. It gives you, if I gave you all the things you needed all in one go, you're going to feel overwhelmed. Trust me, just get the basics down first. And then for the focus school, I use Morderai because I haven't unbound the abilities yet. But Xeneric is the one you want to focus on first to get your operator's energy up, so you can stay in void mode longer and you can dash around more and reposition yourself as the operator. Then you want to focus on Morderai's wayband abilities, and they are the amount of energy your amp has, as well as how quickly that amp energy will regenerate. Once you've got those two, try and unbind them. You can play around with all focus schools. It's just those two, for me, are the most important and the smoothest way I've been able to get into Eidolon hunts. And that's all you really need to worry about. I mean, Arcwings, you can choose which Arcwing you want to use. I use Itzal for some utility, but other than that, The amp I use is made up of the Clamora prism, the proper scaffold, and the Certus brace. Two of these parts are from Little Duck, so it can be a bit more tricky for newer players to get hold of. However, the Certus brace is from Cetus. If you are struggling to build this amp, don't worry. The another amp you can use is this one. This was a good old meta back in the day. Has since fallen off compared to other amps now, but is still a great amp, and you can get all three of those pieces from Cetus, so just from killing Eidolons. So I do recommend building this amp if you can, and then working towards this one. However, this one I've found to be the most consistent with getting the shield down quite quickly, especially on your own. And the arcane I recommend putting into your completely leveled up amp is Virtuous Strike. Because of how quickly this amp does hit, you'll get criticals pretty much consistently. And you'll be getting that 60% extra critical damage all the time, constantly, whilst you're getting that shield down. So you just see a damage increase. Operator Arcanes, Replenish and Vigor, I would say, are probably the best ones to use, because you get your health back and you get a little bit more health. So that's my personal preference on the Arcanes for the Operator. So I think it's still nighttime, I hope. And we can go into a Eidolon hunt. We've got 17 minutes. So we're going to head over to Cetus now, and I'll show you this build in action. So, we'll go talk to Konzo. Where is he? There he is. Get the bounty. And hopefully you'll just get a feel for how this build works in the actual Eidolon hunt itself. Average, I usually take about 6 to 7 minutes on my own. In a group composition, we can do about 4 to 4.5. If I have like Rhino or Volt on the team as well. So first of all, you're going to go into the air on your Arcwing and find the Eidolon. If you put your Arcwing launcher at the top, it's easiest to get into. I mean, that's on controller at least, I don't play on PC. And then you're going to want to head over here and grab this Eidolon there, which you just shoot it, hack it, and then have a look around to see if you can see any Vombolists, which will be these little circular kind of orb-shaped things. And I'm not seeing any. Don't waste too much time looking. They don't always spawn. All you're going to have to do is look out for them whilst you're fighting the Eidolon. It's a shame when they don't spawn, because when they do spawn, you can speed this up a lot faster. Get over to the Eidolon, get out, and start hitting it with your amp. Regeneration, and just keep on going. Go in void mode when he goes to attack you, you can't be hit. Let your NG regen. What you can be doing at this point is looking if there are any Vombolists around. Which I can't see any, so it's going to be a bit of a shame, because he's probably going to move position now. If you can get that lair filled up, then it's going to be a lot quicker. Snipe this Nova. This is important now. There's 2 here. So if you get your lair over to them, wait for it to be attached by the little line, and get him filled up. He's going to teleport anyway, so you're going to want to find his new position very quickly. Where is he gone? I hate it when you never find him. Okay, we're going to have to look for him. There he is. So we got him. Now we only need 1 more to fill up, so hopefully there'll be 1 just over here when we've finished getting his shield down. Try and make sure you've got your pistols out when you are fighting the Eidolon. Well, not when you're fighting him, but when you're about to get the shields down, because then when you can go straight back into your Warframe and then switch to your sniper rifle to get that vigorous swap. It's just less downtime. I'm slowing my process down here for you so you can see what I do. And with practice, you will get better at the muscle memory of what you've got to do and when you've got to do it. And get the shield down. Again, a good time to look for some Vombulists quickly. Get that first layer filled up. Now he can't move position because that first layer's filled up. So when you get that Sonova down, you're not going to have to worry about the Eidolon actually moving position. So what we're going to do now is keep the layer near him. And he won't be able to move anymore. And as soon as he goes to stand back up, you want to get into your Arcwing and go look for another layer. Now, the place I like to go to is this camp over here, because there's usually one or two around here. Snipe it, get in, and then get back over to the Eidolon. Reload your weapon. Always make sure you reload that weapon. Switch back to your pistols and get back to taking his shield down. If he moves position, he'll actually regenerate 75% of his energy. That is shield. And you don't want that, so you want to try and keep him in position with that first layer. Once the shield's down again, cast Smite, switch. I knew we'd do that. Switch back if that happens, switch again. You just want to make sure you get that. Again, now he's down. Look for some Vombulists to fill that layer up. Kill some Grenadier if you want to. Because we've got Arcane Nullifier, that doesn't actually do much to us. Gets back up. Take down that shield. By now you should get a feel for what you need to be doing. Don't stress if you're not doing it quick. It's not about the speed, it's about learning. The speed will come the more you actually do it. Just repetition. Right. Switch. My smite's still going, so don't need to worry about recasting it. If you find you need to take more, if you find you need to, like, you know, be able to take more damage, then just cast Blessing. That will heal you, heal the layers, and also give you 75% damage reduction. Main thing now is to just find the last few Vombulists. There's usually some under when he stands back up. Right, recast Smite. At this point we could take him down, but we are still getting Vombulists. There's one just there. Both of them filled up. Switch weapon. And just snipe him down. I've missed a few of my shots there, unfortunately. And there we go. Make sure the layers are always kept near him. And you have successfully caught yourself an Eidolon. Like I say, I could have done that a little bit faster. It's not about the speed when you're learning, it's about making sure that you're learning the process. And that, you know, you take that experience over to the next Eidolons that you decide to fight. With Itzel, you can also suck up everything, so you have to waste time collecting all your cores. That's it. You head back over to your exit point. If you were going to take on a Gauntlist afterwards, you would want to make sure you filled up another layer with the Vombulists that are left over after the fight, because that will keep your next Eidolon in place, meaning you waste less time actually trying to get the shield down and chasing him around the Plains of Eidolon. But that has been all for this video. Let's see what Arcane I get quick. Arcane Tempo, great Arcane for some shotguns. So you do get some good stuff, and the key thing for this is the Brilliant Eidolon Shard. Gives you 25,000 focus when trading it into any of the focus schools. So it's great there. But anyway, this has been me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.